everybody. Welcome to the Backstage Slam, episode number 194. Before we get started with our usual shenanigans, I just wanted to address something right now that's going on in our country. It is May 30th, 2020. Right now, there is a lot of unrest going on in our cities, and people fall on all sorts of sides of what's going on. But I am saying to everyone out there, wherever you are, to just be careful and stay as safe as possible. So with that being said, let's get into our usual... Is debauchery a good word? No. I'm
Spiel.
Josh. Our usual spiel. I'm Josh, joined as always by Ben.
Hi.
Anna.
Hello.
And Amber.
Yep.
We have quite the show for you tonight because a little bit later on we're going to be talking about AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view. That's right, a pay-per-view, not something you can just spend $10 on a month and get it included in a package. It would be nice if they did that, but no traditional pay-per-views, apps and whatnot. And we also have some news from the week. But as always, before we get started with any of that, you can always find me on Twitter at SkitComic or at Simicore Studios, or go to Facebook and like Simicore Studios. You could always find Ben, YoBro MMO. You can find Anna at Catwoman. I'm gonna get this. It's numbers at Catwoman13618. There you go.
You got it.
You can find all the information about Backstage Slam at BackstageSlam.com. Don't forget to look for the Patreon. If you feel like you can donate just $1 a month, you can help dreams come true and become our best friends forever. So that's the Patreon, YoBro MMO. But if you want to join into the weekly wrestling conversations on a daily basis, go to the Discord, YoBro MMO. All right. Got the plugs out of the way.
Just want to mention that we are live both on Twitch and Spreaker simultaneously, and we will be answering any questions in either chat. So feel free to hit us up, and we'll get to them as soon as we can.
And if you're downloading this, remember, we go live every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9
Saturday.
p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. Hawaiian. That covers basically everybody. That's on the show.
Saturday.
That's what I said. Saturday. Don't correct me in front of the children. But you know what, Ben? Why don't you just go and give us some news?
All right. FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood have arrived to AEW. The former Revival tag team from NXT and WWE, former Raw and SmackDown and NXT tag team champions, have been confirmed for next Wednesday's Dynamite episode on TNT. FTR is the biggest get for the company since the signing of Jon Moxley. FTR bolsters an already stacked division, which should make for some exciting matchups. With that said, I know it's going to take a while. Everybody's still referring to them as the Revival, but with FTR, they have some T-shirts out, and there's different phrases for FTR. But checking out, Wikipedia and other places, it seems like FTR is what they're going to be labeled as. Before they were going to go with Fear the Revolt, but it seems like they're not quite able to use Fear the Revolt for some reason. I don't know if it's a copyright issue or whatnot. And Yeah, they're just going to be called FTR for now, which I am very fine with that. It's going to be real easy. Cash Wheeler is going to be easier for me to remember. Dax Harwood, I'm going to have to get used to, because I believe Cash Wheeler was the name that he went with before he ended up joining WWE. With that said, I want to get everybody's thoughts on the Revival joining AEW. Josh, let's start off with you.
Wow, this is a show so shocking. I would never in a million years see this coming. Now, as far as their name goes, I know that they're being sued, I want to say, because someone that they knew back in the day is called The Revolt, and they knew them back then, but the response was, of course, you can't trademark that kind of thing. And FDR stands for a lot of things. So they're going to be, basically using the letters to send a lot of different messages from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But as for how we feel about them signing, well, it's about time. I know that they had to leave WWE first. But even if they showed up the same day, if they made like a special show just for their appearance on a Saturday, I would have said, you know what? It's taken too long. They've been free agents for all of 30 minutes. They should have been. They should have already debuted. Yeah, because this was so foreseeable. They've been promoting this team versus the Young Bucks long before it was ever a possibility. So, yeah, about time. Good move.
All right. Just want to say, Lag Spike in Twitch chat, thank you for the 100 bits. Appreciate it.
Is that another
let's see. Anna.
chat I have to keep up with?
Anna, your thoughts on the Revival joining AEW?
I'm not honestly even sure I ever got to see them wrestle on WWE, because I've only been to wrestling for like a hot minute.
Oh, okay.
Like, what are their actual names? I might know them by name, not by tag.
All right, that's cool. Amber, what are your thoughts?
I'd be excited if Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows showed up, then I would be about the Revival. Don't get me wrong, they're not bad or anything. They just weren't as entertaining. So I hope that they'll be able to develop a better character than the Revival and actually be used so we can see what their potential actually is.
Awesome. For me, I think this is very exciting. Of course, I was actually shocked the way that I think it could have been better. Their debut on AEW could have been better. But they did a really good twist because they've been building this rivalry with the Young Bucks for over 2 years now on the Being the Elite YouTube channel, well before AEW even became a thing. And with that said, I fully expected them to, screw over the Young Bucks, but they ended up saving the Young Bucks from the Butcher and the Blade this past Wednesday on Dynamite. Now, All Out is a couple of months from now. It's September 5th. We got a long wait for that. So I believe they're going to do a little bit of build for that, which is good. We do have Fyter Fest coming up in between now and September 5th. They just have not given us a date for that yet. Fyter Fest was supposed to take place this year in London in conjunction with CEO, a fighting game tournament / convention that they've been partnering up. It's labeled as a free pay-per-view, which you don't have to pay for. It will be available on Fight TV app and BR Live, Bleacher Report Live streaming platforms for free in North America and other areas as well. But I believe they're gonna have them maybe be babyface for a while. We'll see. I believe they're gonna show up next Wednesday with Tony Schiavone. We're gonna see what's gonna happen with them. Maybe they get some heat with Butcher Blade, and that's their opening program with the company. I expect them to be babyface for a while, and then slowly build up to the big tag team match. Maybe the Young Bucks win the title soon from Hangman and Kenny Omega. But that's another storyline within itself. There's so much going on, and with those two teams added to the tag division in AEW. I mean, let's face it. We've been saying that NXT had the best tag team division for a long time, but ever since last October, that has gone away. AEW, in my opinion, and it looks like the majority believe that AEW has the strongest tag division out there. I can't wait to see them mix it up with the likes of anybody from the Elite. Butcher and the Blade. We got Best Friends. We got people from the Dark Order. There's just the Jungle Jurassic Express with Jungle Boy and there's just some Private Party. It's just such a strong division, and I can't wait to see more tag team wrestling on AEW. This is a huge get for them. Let's see. Any closing comments, Josh? Like any matchups you particularly want to or are anticipating?
I think they will match up well with pretty much anybody that's set in front of them. What was it, 2017? When they were blowing things up in NXT? 17 or 18? Something like that. They were actually getting legitimate match of the year contendership for their matches. And it was definitely no surprise why. If you really want to see the Revival in action before they make their in-ring debut, I would highly recommend going back and watching their stuff in NXT. It is amazing. But matchups in AEW, Young Bucks is a very obvious answer, but just out of the sheer entertainment value, I'm going to say Best Friends. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
All right. Next topic. Lighthearted one. And which is sorely needed right now in this day and age. With what's going on in the world today, or at least in our country. Bray Wyatt and WWE announcer JoJo welcomed their second child, Hyrie Von Rotunda, on May 28th, just 2 days ago.
Wait, say that name
last
again?
year. Hyrie Von Rotunda.
I thought that's what you said. I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at the name, but I thought there might have been some sort of glitch in The Simpsons. I'm like, did I hear that right? Turns out, yes.
Hyrie Von Rotunda on May 28th. Last year, at around the same time, they welcomed their son, Nash 6 Rotunda, to the world. So congratulations on those two. Yes, Nash 6 is the name of their son. So,
what's the girl? What's the new one's name? I'm still not processing that.
Hyrie Von Rotunda. Hyrie, Hyrie. Middle name is Von, Von, and then Their last name Rotunda. And then the son's name is Six, S-I-X-X, or excuse me, Nash 6, Nash as in K-N-A-S-H, and S-I-X-X.
So Bray didn't name the babies,
6.
The Fiend did.
Well, I guess? Maybe?
Just saying.
So, wait, they have 2 together?
Yeah.
Now, yeah.
I did not know JoJo was even pregnant for the second time.
I knew JoJo was pregnant this time because JoJo's in the first season of Divas, and I looked her up, and I'm like, okay, I've seen her still on WWE. She's backstage ring announcer and stuff like that, and it's like, well, where the heck did she go? Oh, maternity leave with who? He didn't say anything about a second one. Oh.
Yeah, this came out of nowhere for me. I was like, "Oh wow, this is awesome news."
I mean, it's cool, but is there a reason they went with
those names? I have no idea. That's why it threw me for a loop. It's like I gotta add this to the news. I want to see what everybody else thinks.
That's some Kim and Kanye shit right there. No offense to them. Kids gotta go to school.
Yep. Amber, thoughts? Or Josh?
No, I think I've said my piece. Oh man, he doesn't really show signs of stopping, does he? Just gonna keep helping her. I don't want to say spit out more kids, but 2 years is. Whew.
And she's so tiny. She's 5 foot nothing.
It's like Rudy, 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing.
If she's even 100.
All right. Next piece of news. WWE SmackDown head writer Christopher DeJoseph has been released from WWE. DeJoseph has been working as the lead writer in SmackDown under executive director Bruce Pritchard. Many casual fans know him by his on-screen character, and I think Josh will mark out a little bit for this one because Josh has used his name as a meme over the last 3.5 years on the Backstage Slam. Big Dick Johnson. Josh, sad news for you?
You can hear that I'm choked up.
Big burly man in his underwear?
Big sweaty man. Yeah, it's a thing. So I don't know what to feel about it. I mean, I'm honestly, I have no words. I have no response or reaction, and I know that's surprising coming from me, right?
They had another writer. I think I don't remember the guy's name. I think it was Ryan something.
Seacrest?
No. And then before him, I think it was Mad Dog, Road Dog, Jesse James. So DeJoseph took over for that other dude who got shifted to Raw around the time of the Superstar Shakeup last year.
He likes it raw. Sorry.
So I guess at the beginning, and thinking back now that this guy was in Control Creative for about a year, um, Vince McMahon ripped up a lot of this guy's scripts. You remember Vince McMahon ripping the script all the way till the day of, and then they would just settle on a script literally 10 minutes before many of the SmackDown started. A lot of that stopped when they, a lot of that stopped when they moved to Fox from USA, but still, I don't know. Maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Maybe it happened again. I don't know, but it seems like WWE is, I don't know. I guess I could say they're in a mode of feeling a little bit of urgency and less complacency, because I'm noticing a shift. It's a small, minute shift on their product on TV. Both Raw and SmackDown have been surprisingly decent. Not good, but decent. Like, way better than the last, I don't know, 3 months?
I
like,
don't feel like I've wasted my time watching this.
I took the time and watched Raw and SmackDown this week. I don't know. I just was so bored, with
I feel so.
not having much to do, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take the chance and watch Raw this week, and I want to watch SmackDown yesterday. I know, right? And I'm like, wow, decent. Now, I don't know if you know this, but do you see the new ring setup they had in the Performance Center? They have like a plexiglass, as if it was a hockey rink. And GR had a little blurb during Dynamite this Wednesday, when the cameras was going to the crowd, and it's like, well, at least we don't have plexiglass protecting the crowd, which made me chuckle. So at least they're doing something right. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's motivation or what, but WWE. I know a lot of people from within know that the product can be a lot better than it is, and who knows? Maybe they had a lot of layoffs last month. Who knows? Maybe they're gonna release some more people and say, "Hey, we're taking this serious." Ladies, you guys want to chime in on this news, or it's all minutia?
I'm good.
Well, I'll tell you something. Just the fact of the way this whole thing is worded, the title of, what is it, lead writer?
Yes, lead writer on SmackDown.
Lead writer. That is a symptom. No, that's a sign. No, I think
they fired every lead
synonymous.
writer over the last 3 years. Every year they fired a lead writer on Raw and SmackDown.
That is the problem. Not the fact that they're firing lead writers. No. Because if you've seen the show, yeah. The turnaround for lead writers, not surprising that it's being run so fast. The problem is that they're hiring lead writers. I'm gonna put it out there. Being a writer is no place. Has no place in wrestling. I said it. I'm a guy that does the podcast every Friday night at 10 at semicorestudios.com, and we talk about writers, actors, directors. I'm a writer. I write screenplays, books, novels. I do it. I'm a writer. And as a writer, I know that skill set is not what makes pro wrestling. They need to have, for each brand, not a writer, but a booker, Okay? I know the difference is subtle in the grand scheme of things because they're coming together with storylines, but they're booking the matches. And then they'll figure out a way to get there. Booking the high money matches. This person's great, this person's great, why are they fighting? Well, then you start there. Not, well, we have this angle, who should we plug into it? I don't like it when it works that way because it's so transparent. When you see that somebody in a storyline could be easily replaced and not skip a beat. We've seen it done before. But when somebody can be easily replaced, you know that the story came first. And sure, sometimes there's stories that are good. And maybe you shouldn't ignore them, but it will always be my opinion that the characters drive the stories and not the other way around. And you do that with a booker, not a writer. Because, for the most part, writers are telling a story. The good ones will make their characters important to the story. So, I said my piece, and that's my opinion. If you disagree, well, just join us here every week. Tell me I'm wrong live. If not, social media. I'll talk to you.
He must have been a big fan of Baron Corbin because there was too much Baron Corbin. Like, Baron Corbin was everywhere. He was in the main event. He was in the beginning of the show. They were following him backstage in so much different segments. I'm like, what is with this SmackDown and their love for Baron Corbin all of a sudden being everywhere? Jeez. Maybe that'll.
I could have done with less Baron.
Yeah, maybe that could. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll see a lot less Baron Corbin now.
Someone's like, "We're gonna make Baron Corbin the new Jinder Mahal," and someone's like, "Why would you do that? Do that to him?" And someone else is like, "I don't think he means that as a bad thing."
Credit to where it's due, though. He has cleaned up his act. His backstage attitude has cleaned up ever since he got punished. Around the time he won the Money in the Bank, he has put in a lot of work. And I don't know, like I'm kind of torn about it because I'm still a fan of his. I still think the End of Days is my favorite finishing move in all of wrestling. But over the last couple of months until Roman decided to go on hiatus and take care of his kids during this pandemic, it's like every single week, and then he's on Raw now, and then he's on SmackDown, and then he's showing up on both shows for a whole month straight. And I'm like, okay, whatever. All right, next news. All right, this is Chris Jericho on the controversy discussion on social media if he was concerned at all about carrying over a WWE angle to AEW. And here's the quote for Chris Jericho. "It's the WWE angle? Question mark. It's a Chris Jericho angle. I was there. I didn't just wash away my 19-year history with WWE. That's ludicrous. Anybody criticizing that this was a WWE angle and we brought it over here. This is my life, my story. Tyson knocked out Chris Jericho. He didn't knock out Chris Jericho and The Rock and Hulk Hogan and Triple H and Kurt Angle. He just knocked me out. That's my story. It's as if I wrote a song and it's a huge hit and I released it on Sony Records. Then I signed with Warner Brothers and recorded the song there. It's still my song." So this is in reference to way back, I think it was in 1998, 99, maybe 97, during the Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels era. There was the first time where they brought Iron Mike Tyson, who was he was a part of DX, got into a shoving match with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then several years later, in the 2000s, they brought Mike Tyson back, and they did another angle with Chris Jericho, where Chris Jericho got legit knocked out, and they've been Chris Jericho is using that angle they did in WWE and doing it again on this past Wednesday. I think it was a really good ending, although it's kind of awkward because Mike Tyson on a live mic was very, very awkward, but it didn't kill the entire segment. I thought the segment was awesome, and I'm siding with Chris Jericho here. He did bring raise some good points with his quote on it. To me, it doesn't really matter. All that matters to me is if I'm having fun watching it and it's entertaining, and that right there for me subjectively is good. So, to me, it doesn't matter if they're redoing an angle or whatnot. Chris Jericho is the one that's actually participating in it, and he's not saying it's not a WWE angle, it's a Chris Jericho angle. And, he has brought some valid points to it. So, a lot of people trying to stir up the pot on social media again with something as minuscule as an angle that has been relived in almost 20 years being brought back again. People just need to chill out and relax. It's like everybody's getting angry because they're stuck at home, bored, and they can't do anything. So it's like, oh, let's be trolls on social media all of a sudden. Who knows? Josh, thoughts?
Mm-hmm. Well, first I want to address the fact that Chris Jericho could be wrong. Not about the wrestling part, but the whole thing with the song analogy. That's, generally not the studio, but the record label owns the song. So, no, you can't go re-record it if you don't have the rights. At least that's my understanding of the law in that regard. But
yeah, I didn't understand that second part. Maybe he's bad with analogies like you and I are. I don't know.
Yeah, we're definitely bad at analogies. But
no, not you guys.
Oh, I probably should have seen that coming, but yet I never do. In regards to talking about a storyline that happened already, it's the exact way things should be done, in my opinion. WWE has this bubble that they've built around themselves, around their universe, and essentially the rule goes, if it didn't happen here, it didn't happen at all. Now, there have been exceptions when they talk about guys like AJ Styles. He was big in Japan. They acknowledge that. I've even heard them talk about the IWGP Heavyweight Championship at one point.
Mm-hmm.
They will very, very, very briefly acknowledge somebody's existence outside the company if it means they can hype them up more. But no, they're not going to put together a huge retrospective about somebody's, past time. And chances are, the only time what we saw it with anybody that was in the Bullet Club, that all got summed up. Everything got summed up with they knew each other in Japan, and that was it. None of the nuance of the stories, nothing about anything other than they knew each other in Japan. They might have had some friction in Japan. And that's what it all boiled down to with WWE. They don't talk about history if it's not WWE history. AEW, Chris Jericho, are doing the exact right thing by acknowledging that this is a thing that happened, because it's part of a character's history. I don't like the idea that once somebody leaves WWE, they are no longer that they everything's done, everything's changed, and I really wish WWE would stop and let people acknowledge that they had careers, and not just say they had careers, but Daniel Bryan should. Honestly, wouldn't you buy an American Dragon shirt?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, of course. Bryan Danielson is much cooler than Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
So.
What?
I'm interrupting you, Josh. It was
Yeah.
done differently because they had Vitor Belfort, Rashad Evans, and Henry all from the UFC there to some ass. So it wasn't Tyson Jericho against the Click. He brought his own crew. So it's a different spin. It's not the same story.
I bow to the queen.
Yeah, that's what he was mentioning. Like, why is it a WWE angle? It's a Chris Jericho angle. That's the point he was trying to make in the interview when they brought to his attention that, you know, people were fighting on Twitter and Facebook, wrestling communities, about AEW is doing a WWE angle.
I'm telling you, though, when it comes to anything regarding UFC, I know two things. One of them's Jack, and you can guess the rest.
Yeah. Anna, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
I think Jericho's going to do whatever he wants to do. Because Jericho always has. Josh threw me off my whole line of thinking, like delving into the whole Bryan Danielson thing. So thanks, Josh.
Anytime, Anna.
I feel like that's payback for something.
All right. Next bit of news. What's that?
So what's next, man?
All right. Next bit of news. Britt Baker is out 6 to 8 weeks after being diagnosed with a small fracture in her tibia. Britt was to face Chris Statlander at last Saturday's AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view event, but was replaced by Penelope Ford. She was injured in a tag team match last Wednesday on Dynamite just 3 days before the pay-per-view. AEW will continue to use Britt on TV, as seen on this Wednesday's Dynamite episode, as she continues to be the top promo for the women's division and doesn't even skip a beat, even when sitting in a wheelchair with a cast on her leg. I want to start off by saying, this is weird. So I acknowledge the fact that Britt is the best promo currently, right now, for the women's division, best in the microphone. It's getting her over. It really is getting her over. However, she's trying to draw heat, and I see her trying to draw the same type of heat that Adam Cole draws to him, but at the same time, it's not the type of heat that Adam Cole is, trying to draw, because what could be construed as heat, a lot of, I'm just going to have to say it because there's no way around it. There is a lot of their fans, both Britt and for Adam Cole, the majority of their fans are hardcore marks for them. So they don't see it as a heelish tactic or a heelish move whenever they say something or do something. They mark out for it. So for me personally, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not buying the whole Britt Baker as the top heel in the women's division. Nyla Rose could probably be that, but I see Britt Baker like we seen, like, Josh and I have seen Kevin Owens over the past 5-6 years. Like, he's kind of a tweener. Oh yeah, he's technically on the heel side, but the majority of people like him. So you know, she falls in the tweener category, at least for me. When she comes back, I don't know what's gonna happen. She's trying to build a program with Chris Statlander. I think that's gonna carry on for the next 6 to 8 weeks, however long she's in that leg cast, whatever. But I'm not buying it. Maybe put her back as a baby face, and then just let her keep the same tone. Let her keep the same character. And we've lost both ladies in the call. All right, they're back. But yeah, you know, for me, the forced heel turn, I didn't like it, and I didn't agree with it. So yeah, Josh.
Yep.
Your take on Britt Baker.
I hope she has a speedy recovery. And yeah, she's killing it right now. But of course, she's Britt Baker. Did we expect anything less? That's pretty much it. Anna?
I got cut out. I didn't hear half what you said. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it seems both the ladies have bad connections. Been robotic the whole night for me. I don't know how Josh hears on your end, but it's very
ears?
staticky. No, but are they robotic or staticky on your end?
Anna's been a little bit on the robotic side throughout. I sent her a message.
Okay.
You know. But now everybody knows.
I unplugged my modem by accident, so I probably screwed something up.
It'll do it every time.
Stupid
I
Wi-Fi.
think
Wi-Fi! You figure in this day and age, Wi-Fi would be like way better than it was 10 years ago, but it's still the same.
If not a little worse.
It's like we got 1 gigabit connections for Wi-Fi now. Why is Wi-Fi limited to 25% of Ethernet, regardless of, you know, the package you're paying for? It just doesn't make sense. At least in the United States. It's just so weird. All right. Well, ladies, what is your thoughts on Britt Baker as a wrestler?
I like her. I mean, as a wrestler, I don't know much about her. Like,
Sorry, you got cut off.
I said, as a wrestler, I don't have any issues with her really, but I don't know a whole lot about her otherwise.
She's a doctor. Like
What?
legit. Yeah, she's a legit dentist.
Dentist.
Is my connection any better?
No.
No.
Oh, I'm sitting next to the router. I should have fixed it.
Hey, as long as you're sitting there, why don't you plug it in with an Ethernet cable? Just, you know.
It sounds like she's on her phone using the Discord app.
No, I'm using the Discord app on my computer.
Oh.
Weird.
Let me see if I can find the Ethernet cable.
Well, while that happens, Ben, you mind if I read the last story?
Did we get Amber's take on Britt Baker?
Amber, do you have any thoughts on Britt Baker?
As far as her wrestling ability,
Yeah.
not bad actually.
Pretty good for someone that also went to dentistry school, yeah?
Yeah, it's an interesting trade difference. She's the one with Adam Cole, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
That's Adam Cole's baby.
Oh, she
Maybe
can't work
they'll
both
stop
jobs.
being jerks and let him show up to one of her events and be supportive.
Yeah, it's weird. Don't they show her on camera in NXT?
Yeah,
They totally did.
It's tough for her because she has a fractured leg out for about 2 months, so she can't work both her jobs. She can't work as a dentist and as a wrestler for 2 months. It's kind of especially since everybody's not being able to work full time currently, so it especially sucks for her. I don't know. I think Discord's acting up.
It's almost like the entire internet is just like under attack right now.
Well, here's another reason to never own a Chromebook.
Other than the fact that it's a Chromebook?
You can't plug an Ethernet cable into it.
Yikes! Oh.
Yeah, there's literally nowhere to plug.
Oh, get a USB to Ethernet connector. I think you can get it for like $10 on Amazon.
And where am I going to get that at 11:15 at night?
Well, is there a USB plug-in on your Chromebook?
Yeah, there's 2 of those, but no Ethernet. I have an HDMI port. I don't have an Ethernet port.
Okay, so there's a USB stick with an Ethernet port in it. It's an adapter.
Well,
They
come
have
Wednesday, I will have a new laptop, so this won't be an issue.
Okay.
This is stupid.
Yeah.
So glad I took this Ethernet cable out of its package for nothing.
All right, Josh, you said you wanted to lead off on the last news story.
Well, it's the last story you have on the list anyway. There were a couple more things that happened.
I have Dark Side of the Ring. If you want to add on to it after this one, we can do that too.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I got a couple.
Okay.
I'll go ahead. Dark Side of the Ring executive producer Evan Husney commented on the possibility of having a third season. A third season is something everybody involved wants to do. Vice wants to make a season 3. We would love to see it happen, and we're in those stages of conversation. Right now, there are just a lot of question marks about the future of production, and even the future of the world. Our show deals with a lot of travel, and we'd love to go international to places like Japan in season 3. But there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of that. I can say that all parties want to see this happen, and there is no shortage of stories for us to cover. We've put a lot of thought into it already, and we're getting ideas from people every minute on social media, which is awesome. Long story short, basically what he's saying is the history of wrestling is pretty jacked up, and they will never run out of topics. So
No.
the only thing is getting the logistics right, especially in a time of COVID. Is anybody looking forward to a season 3 of Dark Side of the Ring? I have yet to watch it at all. That's why I wanted to read it, because I don't really have anything to add to the conversation. So
I saw all of season 1 and the Chris Benoit 2-parter of season 2. I haven't seen anything beyond that.
I binged watched both seasons last weekend after Double or Nothing. And I absolutely am in love with the show.
Oh, it's amazing. Like, I think the only one of season 1 I didn't watch was the Montreal Screwjob, because I lived through the Montreal Screwjob.
Did you guys let the commentary play through at the end of the Benoit episode instead of skipping to the next episode? There's like a 13-minute dialogue that happens with his son.
Yeah.
After Jericho finishes his last statement, and then it gives you the option to like go to the next episode. I didn't hit anything, and it played like a 13-minute thing with his oldest son talking, and that stuff was heartbreaking. So.
Yeah, it is. It is heartbreaking because he's there. He's in the backstage area of AEW a lot, and he talks about the fact that no major promotion in North America wants his involvement with them because of his last name, and just because of his last name. They're afraid of that the shadow of what his father did is gonna basically he's like
he's blackballed.
He's being treated as if the sins of the father fall upon the son, fall upon the child, which is ridiculous. If there is one place that I hope to see him, it's definitely his best bet would be AEW.
Nah, they won't touch him.
But
what name did he want to go by?
Chris Benoit.
Yeah. There.
Sorry, I had to step away. Rocket the raccoon's tearing up my porch.
AEW's not going to touch him.
I think Jericho will help him get into it. Jericho and
Chavo.
Jericho, Chavo, and Dean Malenko will help him. But I don't think under that name he'll get it.
I think he'll have a backstage like producer role, but
her connection's fixed. Yay!
Well, even as a producer, he's not qualified. He's still a trainee, essentially. He doesn't have years in the business under his belt. He's a new guy. He's green. He's a rookie.
That's why he starts as a production assistant and works his way up the ladder behind the scenes.
If he's adamant about wrestling, and if he's especially adamant about wrestling using that name, then he will not be on television anywhere. There are going to be small promotions, maybe even in something of an MLW size, that will take the opportunity to grab the headlines and promote themselves in my opinion, a terrible way. But if he's willing to, at the very least, change the name, and you know what? I don't think I'm out of bounds when I say this. Maybe working under a hood, wear a mask. Maybe he gets to be on AEW even, as long as he's got the chops. But you can't be associated with any of it.
The thing is, though, like, at the end of the two-parter, his dad is still here. I don't think he's going to give up wrestling under that name.
Then he will not ever rise above gymnasiums, essentially. Ben?
Yep.
Thoughts?
I just, like I said, I really hope a season 3 happens. You know what I'm really interested is a Dark Side of the Ring based on the first and only women's pay-per-view, Evolution, and the drama of why they don't want to bring it back. That's something that's very intriguing to me, because I thought it was good enough to the point that when we watched it, Josh, and when we did a review of it, we said it was better than half of the pay-per-views that came before it in that year.
It was a particularly unmotivating year for pay-per-views.
Yeah. And we genuinely thought it was a fun watch. And then, there was a lot of hype about getting more of it, making it be an annual thing, a yearly thing. And now they're adamant of never bringing it back. We're not having another one. That's the verbiage that they've used. So I want to see a Dark Side of the Ring episode on that. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other things. Maybe, I don't know, the Vince. If you've seen the second season, whenever there's an episode with both Vince Russo and Jim Cornette, they go at each other in the video segments whenever they're talking about Benoit or Owen Hart. They just clash, and especially Cornette. Cornette threatened to kill him in the episode, literally threatened to kill in the episode. So I want to see a Dark Side of the Ring of people with real life heat against each other and what led to it. So maybe they can do an episode of wrestling's greatest rivalries
real life
or whatever.
rivalries.
Yeah, or
That would
rivalry
actually be
series,
cool.
like rivalry series, Hogan versus Vince McMahon, or Jim Cornette versus Vince Russo, and then at least the entire history, of it all. I'm really intrigued by that.
Well, I did my best to fill in Amber and Anna. Amber, by the way, had to leave early, take care of some family things. I tried to update them on good old Corny, and yeah, Jim Cornette. He's got a comment for everything.
He said some vicious things about the Stadium Stampede match.
He said some vicious things about Becky Lynch. It was bad. It was so bad.
Let me guess.
Let me guess. No one there to fire him.
Did he say something about pregnant women belong in the kitchen? Blah 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 blah. I'm just guessing.
No, he was basically bashing her for getting pregnant at like 30.
What?
At the top of her career. Yeah.
He was saying she needs to be at work while she still has good ring years left, and that
it's something along the lines of, I'm going to give up my $1 million a year, contract to have a baby. How do you feel about that, honey? It's like, what the fuck is this? Sorry, Josh.
What about the fact that a lot of women's wrestlers in the past said that it's hard that if you're a wrestler if you're a professional wrestler, it is hard to actually conceive a child because your body takes a beating. All those bumps and bruises, your uterus takes a beating, and it's really hard to have babies.
That they actually cover that with Brie when she was trying to get pregnant the first time.
Oh, in the Total Bellas?
Yeah, Total Divas.
Oh, yeah. I only watched.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they had started Total Divas or Total Bellas yet. They may have.
Oh yeah, it's in the final season already.
Well, no, when she was trying really hard to get pregnant the first time.
Okay.
It, her struggle was covered on Total Divas pretty well, and they do this cryo body freeze thing, and dude was like, yeah, you need to stop that if you want to get pregnant. And her vegetarian lifestyle kind of got in the way, and she had all sorts of trouble just because of her training and the stress, and
All right.
Did you guys see what that, I guess he's like a wrestling mouthpiece reporter, Jack of Nothing, said about Alexa Bliss?
Oh, yeah, JD from NY?
Oh, wait, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
He's a very outspoken podcaster.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
outspoken's the word for it.
Yeah, no, but I, everyone who was it that said, "Let me meet him face to face."
I think it was Alexa.
No, it was somebody standing up for Alexa.
I think it was Big Show who said that.
Well, Big Show said I'd like to see that, and Braun chimed in. It was a chick. I can't remember which one it was. But basically, everybody got behind Alexa.
I think the term outspoken is apt when you're talking about somebody that actually has a point to make. It seems that this person, whom honestly I'd never heard of until now.
I hadn't either.
Yeah, I've known about him for years. He's one of the top wrestling YouTube podcasters, like literally in the top 3. The thing is, he's kind of like portrays a character on his podcast off the script. He kind of makes himself, I don't know, like a Howard Stern of pro wrestling. And he says a lot of outlandish stuff, and his style, like he ultra criticizes everything, like everything.
Could we not compare him to Stern? Because that
Yeah.
gives a lot of credibility to a talent that I just don't think is there. If
That's
anything,
that's what he
he's
said
the-
himself.
He's the Alex
That's what he
Jones
said himself.
of the wrestling world.
Well, that's what he said himself.
He compared
Then
himself
he
to
has a
Stern.
really high opinion of himself.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying outspoken, like out there.
Again,
Maybe it was Rhea. It was one of the badder chicks
I
of
think it was
wrestling
Rhea.
that said it.
Because that's ringing
yeah.
a bell. But like I said,
Yeah.
he is nowhere near Stern as far as any aspect. Stern says some crazy stuff, but
But he at least has a point to make with it.
I get the feeling he believes
Most
what he
of the
says.
time.
Alex Jones, under oath, has said that the views and opinions that he shares on his show are just a character that he portrays to make money.
I did not know that. I thought that's just Alex Jones, hokey.
No, it was during his divorce, and they were talking about custody of the kids. His show was used as evidence against him, apparently, because there's some nutty stuff on there.
Like I
And he
only
said,
know
"Nope,
Alex
it's a
Jones
character."
through the Rogan podcast. I never actually followed him anywhere.
Yeah, I don't. I can't. It's just it's crazy. It is. No. But yeah, it sounds to me like this guy's hopefully portraying a character, which means that the only reason that so many people watch his show is to hate him, to be able to find out what crazy, stupid thing that he says next, so they can be outraged by it.
That's
Is
basically JD.
I have never watched him. I've seen his one comment about Alexa, and I really hope that whether it was Rhea or somebody else, I really hope they do find him.
The thing is, though, this comment that got seen by Alexa and as well as other WWE personalities, not only seen but reacted to, it's getting him more publicity, which means it's going to be more views. And if what I'm thinking is right, he doesn't care if it's negative attention, because that's what he goes
It's
for
attention.
to begin with.
Well, here's the thing. Like, this isn't anything new with him. Like, he's been doing this for 10 years now. And he's gone after not just Alexa, but everybody, even the men. He says some stuff about the men. He gets blocked. But here's the thing. It was a troll account, a parody account that posted a a video that's like a year and a half to 2 years old, like a very, very old episode of him sexualizing Alexa Bliss and stuff like that. And they acted as if he said that this week about her, but it was a very, very old clip, and it wasn't from him. It was a account that was that tries to troll him, because that's like I said, he's not the prototypical. I don't watch him anymore or whatnot. Like, if his video is trending on YouTube, I take a peek at it and see why it's trending. But I don't watch him every single week. But yeah, he is a well-known. If you know Cultaholic or Steven Larson Going In Raw or Sala Monster, like, they all say not good things about JD in person. As a person, they met him in person. They say he's way different than he is on his podcast. So I don't know. Like, it's a whole mess. He is different on his podcast. At least I seen 3 new video of his just to be curious, and he's not as aggressively attacking wrestlers anymore. I don't know. Maybe he got hit hard with this to the point it's like, okay, maybe I need to stop doing that. But he did issue an apology. I did see that video where he did issue an apology, and Alexa Bliss accepted his apology and forgave him, which was nice to see, because the what hit the chord with this and what basically made everybody jump on him. This was the same day that Hana Kimura took her life. This was literally 6 hours after she killed herself due to internet bullying. So that was the gasoline that was thrown on the fire, basically. Josh, oh my God, we are 70 minutes in. Josh, you got any more news? Did everybody get disconnected on Discord?
No, I'm still here.
Yeah, I had
Okay.
tried to put out a small fire. Not literally, because if you've seen the news from Jacksonville, things are getting a little rough downtown.
Oh boy.
I haven't seen anything from Jacksonville yet.
Yeah, apparently someone was. Anyway, you know what? Not. We're here to get away from that with our pro wrestling talk. So, essentially, the only other really news items I have are Samoa Joe is Jerry Lawler's permanent replacement on the commentary team. Quick thoughts.
Wait, he's retired?
Huh?
Retiring from wrestling?
No. Right now they just have him moved over to commentary, and their wording was permanent replacement for Jerry Lawler.
Oh,
and,
so that Jerry's not coming back
for him
then.
to wrestling.
Okay.
So who's the replacement?
Samoa Joe. I love it. He was great on commentary during his last injury stint when he broke his thumb, and he filled in for Raw for about 7 weeks. He was great. I loved him on commentary, and I think this is a really good move. He reminded me of Taz when Taz did commentary. Really enjoyed him.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good move for him, especially when it comes to job security. Like any job, if you know how to do more than one thing, you should be good to go to have a job for a little while, at least, right? And so, congratulations, I guess, to Samoa Joe. It's just, if this means that he's not going to be as active, I mean, I get the feeling he's going to be, back.
This is like his 10th concussion, and you know what sucks about it is he suffered the concussion while shooting a being slammed through a table spot on a commercial.
Oh, that sucks. I wanted to see him be the WWE champion. I wanted that so bad.
Isn't he in his 40s already? Right?
Yeah, he's
around
same
right?
age as Cena.
Yeah. So, Man, having so much concussions, that's yikes.
Also, I guess real quick, the turnbuckle bomb was banned by WWE.
Finally.
It's a move that Seth Rollins used. A couple of people got hurt. Nia Jax used it to almost, decapitate Kairi Sane. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but yeah, it didn't work out so well for Kairi either. So it is now banned by WWE.
Instead of banning moves, why don't they just practice it? Like I seen this oh man, who was it? If it was Dylan Bostic or something, this guy in the indie scene, he was like, all us guys in the indies, when we practice dangerous moves like the Burning Hammer, which is basically the John Cena's finisher, but the body is in reverse. And it said people need to start tucking their heads in the direction that they should be tucking. Like the AJ Styles clash, for instance, when he almost killed James Ellsworth because Ellsworth, he didn't look up or tuck his head backward. Instead, he tucked his chin and made his chin touch his chest. And then that's the wrong way to take the Styles clash. It said instead of banning moves, they have their own training facility. They gotta get people who are not just doing the moves, but people who are going to be taking the moves to do repetitions over and over and do it the correct way. And because he said he feels like a WWE is, like I said, they're like a circus show where everybody is just resting on their laurels and they don't have to practice anything. They just ad-lib everything, and it leads to dangerous situations. Whereas smaller wrestling organizations, they actually practice their match and do all the spots and stuff like that, and they train for it before they actually do the live match and stuff. I think that's kind of interesting. But yeah, as far as the move being banned, I mean, we're going to get to a point where every single move is going to be banned in WWE. We've seen moves that have been banned before, and then they're unbanned, and then they're banned again.
Seth Rollins' curb stomp comes to mind.
Yeah, it's just, and here's the thing, Josh. I'm guessing the buckle bomb is banned on the main roster because none of those moves are banned in NXT. None of them. The curb stomp can be used in NXT. Burning Hammer is used regularly on the NXT. None of those moves that are banned on the main roster are banned on NXT because NXT is doing them. Why? Because they're practicing, they're training it. It's just weird.
They do a lot of stuff on NXT you just don't see in regular mainstream wrestling anymore.
Yeah. Like they do pile drivers on NXT. And they don't do it in WWE anymore. Or in the main roster anymore.
No.
It's almost like the ones in NXT kind of know what they're doing. So many veterans down there. Okay.
All right.
You know what? We are so late on this show. How do you want to do Double or Nothing?
Like I said, we just want to do like a brief, general feeling of what you guys thought about the show, likes, dislikes, best, worst part of it, whatever, instead of breaking down every single match.
Okay. Then I'll go ahead and get us started.
Anna, you said you didn't watch it yet, right?
No, I didn't get a chance to. I ended up picking up extra hours at work.
Okay.
Well, that's not a bad thing, making some extra scratch. then you could, buy a microphone and a powerful computer. All you need is about $1 million.
Yeah, I'll hop right on that.
Look, one of us is going to have to work hard for it, and it's not going to be me.
I told you I will have a new laptop come Wednesday night.
And I said $1 million. So
I would love $1 million.
get us that money, Sugar Mama.
Yeah, okay. I'll hop right on that one.
Well, we're going to talk with the what do they call their pre-show? Is it just the pre-show?
The
countdown?
Yeah.
The kickoff? No, the buy-in. It's called the buy-in.
The buy-in. Yeah, the buy-in.
I knew there was a thing for it. The buy-in had Best Friends take on Private Party. The two teams that are definite, excellent representations of AEW. Best Friends went over just over 15 minutes. Thoughts?
I thought it was a fun match, and I would rather have seen this match on the main show and move the Statlander and Penelope Ford match to, or the Dustin Rhodes and Shawn Spears match to the buy-in.
Okay,
but it was a half hour pre-show, so I guess they needed a match that would take up half the time. So I guess it worked out for it.
I have to say they put on a pretty good match, as one would expect from these two teams. I have no problems with it at all. 15 minutes is definitely enough time for a good match. So kudos to them for opening up the show.
I give it a 3.25 out of 5.
I'm going to go a little bit higher at 3.5. Next up, they opened the show with the casino ladder match for a future AEW World Championship match. And there we saw Darby Allin, Colt Cabana, Orange Cassidy, Joey Janela, Scorpio Sky, Kip Sabian, with Jimmy Havoc and Penelope Ford showing up, Frankie Kazarian, and Luchasaurus. Here's the thing about this match. Scorpio Sky, Frankie Kazarian, of course, both SCU, and Orange Cassidy. Well, I have to mention this. On the way out to the ring, he had to stop by the commentary table and ask what the rules are for the match. And when he was told, you got to climb a ladder, he was like, mad. He was mad about it because he had to do stuff. And then we find out later he doesn't know how to operate a ladder. So Orange Cassidy once again bringing his A game by being Orange Cassidy. Everyone else, including Orange Cassidy, he did a tremendous job when he got everything rolling. But of course, the biggest story of the match was that last spot, that last mystery spot went to Brian Cage, and he showed up, wreck shop. It took everybody teaming up to take him down, and he was down for quite a while, but it wasn't enough to stop him as Brian Cage went on to win a future AEW World Championship match.
I was correct with my mystery man pick. I should have picked him to win too.
You were correct, and you know what? I was kind of, I went with a guy that was actually still signed with the WWE, so I had no idea what direction that the Mystery Man piece was going to go.
They signed him at the end of January, but he was recovering from surgery from, I guess, a torn bicep or something. So he was actually signed to AEW this whole time. I was like, okay, if I remember correctly, it was a 3.5-month injury. So I was like, my pick is going to be Drew Gulak or it's going to be Brian Cage. And I went with Brian Cage. I was like, wow, he should be healthy by now. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to go with Brian Cage. And then bam, I was actually shocked when he came out. I was like, whoa, I was right.
Yeah, you were like, I was right. And everyone else was like, shut up, Ben.
By the way, Drew Gulak re-signed with WWE, multi-year deal.
Well, I'm glad they finally came to an agreement.
And by the way, one more tidbit for Orange Cassidy, since you're a big mark for him.
Totally.
Did you see the post-show scrum?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so they did it via Zoom, webcam, and at one point, Tony Khan, came in. They had Cody, then they had Moxley, then they had Tony Khan. When Tony Khan was in the middle of his interview, taking questions, Orange Cassidy came in the background, sat next to him and stuff, and then he was like, "By the way, I kid you not, this is not a joke, guys. I've been trying to explain him the rules of the casino ladder match, and I must have explained it to him over 200 times. And this isn't a work. Like, seriously." And then Cassidy goes, "Yeah, did you know that he told me to shut up? I got him so mad he told me to shut up." And I was like, "Yeah, because you keep asking me every 10 minutes." I thought that was a fun thing. So, like, he legitimately kept bugging everybody, not just Tony, but everybody backstage. Like, what is the rules of the ladder match? So it was actually a thing. And then he did it out in the crowd when he went to the table. I was like, oh, so there's a storyline behind that. Okay. that was a nice tidbit right there. It was a callback.
My favorite piece of the match was, in fact, when Orange Cassidy did not want to climb the ladder, so he hitched a ride on Brian Cage's back. Yeah, just held on to him like a 6-year-old hold on to their parent, for a piggyback ride. And the size difference was about that. Yeah. Go ahead, Anna.
I don't know what to say to that.
It's definitely something worth watching. Another reason why I gave you all of that Orange Cassidy homework that you have yet to do. See? No excuses. Next match. MJF takes on Jungle Boy.
Oh, I'm giving the casino ladder match a 3 out of 5.
I'm still gonna go 3.5. It went 28 minutes and 30 seconds though. That's an awesome amount of time for that many people. Everybody got their stuff in. MJF took on Jungle Boy in a match that took on 17 minutes and some change. MJF takes the win, and I believe that was one of the matches everybody picked MJF to win. So, I mean,
yeah,
this was a very predictable card.
This was my match of the night in terms of pure just wrestling with no major gimmick or stuff like that. This was my match this is the best match of the night. I really enjoyed everything. I don't think these two are done with each other yet. It seems to me that they're doing a slow burn with MJF. I do believe MJF is going to be the one to take the title off of Jon Moxley. But he has so much unfinished business with so many guys. Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt. He even has unfinished business with Cody. So it's really, really interesting how, like, right now, the one guy that gives me the most curiosity as to how they're going to build him is MJF. I do see him being the next guy after Jon Moxley. I really strongly believe that. It's just that how they're going to get there. It's going to make or break them. But I thought this was the best wrestling match in the entire card. I'm giving it a 4.25. Or 4.5, excuse me.
I gotta go a little bit lower with a 3.75, not because it wasn't a really good match, but because, I don't know, it just seemed, again, like I said a moment ago, very much along the predictable route. It flowed fine. I had a hard time buying into Jungle Boy possibly winning, because I already had my mind made up that MJF was going to win. And,
right.
Part of a great match is being able to suspend that disbelief, and I just did not get this here.
You know what's funny is they had the TNT title battle royal, and I picked Jungle Boy to win, and he ended up beating MJF.
It's okay, so we got some of that back. That's good.
It kept them strong. That pin reversal was what kept them strong too. So yeah, Cody versus Jungle Boy for the TNT title. One of the main events next week, along with the tag team championship match.
I think it's going to be a very enjoyable match, and I can't wait to see it.
Very good show. Chris Jericho versus Colt Cabana as well, just announced for next week's Dynamite.
Hopefully that's going to be a fun match. Both guys know how to entertain people in that ring, and hopefully that's what they go for. Because I don't want to see serious Colt Cabana. I want to see him quasi-serious, where he still keeps his personality.
Have you been watching BTE lately?
No, I haven't.
He and Kenny Omega have like this program in BTE where every time Kenny Omega is on camera, Colt Cabana has to shimmy his way in like a weasel and try to steal his spotlight. And they've been building it for a while. And now they're making Kenny Omega like super paranoid. Like, this guy keeps trying to steal my spotlight. So that's what they're doing with Colt Cabana behind the scenes.
I'm going to have to start watching BTE again because, they always...
Oh, it's so enjoyable. It's more than just a blog now. They actually do storyline stuff.
Well, they've been doing that for...
Marty Scurll showed up at the end of the episode 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next match, I do want to say, though, that going back to the casino ladder match, I was sold on somebody. I'm going to make this very brief. I became a fan of Kip Sabian. On the spot. I'd never seen him like that before, and I really enjoyed it. So, throwing that out there right now, and if I was impressed by anybody that I wasn't expecting to be impressed by, it was Kip Sabian. So, Cody took on Lance Archer for the finals of the TNT Championship tournament to award the inaugural TNT Championship match to its first champion. And, well, what do you know? Cody won. And I'm not even being facetious when I say that it was a surprise to me. I picked Lance, and that's not only why it was a surprise to me, but because, I didn't expect Cody to be champion. Legit did not expect him to be champion. Mm-hmm. So I was pleasantly surprised to see Cody, become the first TNT champion. Ben?
Mm-hmm. What's your score for this match?
For
Cody versus Lance? Yeah.
I'm going to go 3.5.
Nice. Same. I also scored a 3.5 out of 5. Here's the thing. Okay, I agree with everything that you just said. I mean, the spot... This was like... This match also won, like, old school match of the night. Like, throwback match of the night, in my opinion. It was slow, methodical. The storytelling was definitely there. Like with every single pay-per-view match that Cody has had. it always had like like the big storytelling part of it, and it worked really well. Lance Archer is getting better with the old school top rope walk into a moonsault. Like, he's getting so much better at doing that, and a guy that size to be able to do that at his age is nuts. Here's the problem. So this past Wednesday, Cody did an amazing promo, but I had a big grievance with it. He said he's going to be defending the TNT title every single week. As soon as he said that, it's like, okay, he's not going to have. So that's why I was like, oh, I don't know, man. I wanted Lance Archer to get it, but I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know what. I guess I should say I don't know how to feel about it. But I did enjoy the match.
Next up, Chris Statlander took on Penelope Ford in a match that went 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Statlander defeated Ford. I mean, plain and simple, it was super fast. I don't really think there was anything to be mad about. It was just put together. So, you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah, Penelope Ford did amazing in that short match. She was a last-minute fill-in. It wasn't known that she was going to be replacing an injured Britt Baker until like hours before the show started. I think her, filling in and did what she could. I imagine that the match with Britt would have been twice as long. But she showed great improvement in the ring. She also showed improvement in the ring on AEW Dark as well. So she's getting there. I had big... She was in my top 3 when Dynamite started. I was like, okay, potential to be at the top. Penelope Ford was in my top 3 as unknown names. If, like the casual WWE watcher that started watching AEW, I had her in my top 3 list with a great potential to be a top star. So she's getting there. The match itself was just, I don't know, it was just a placeholder, I guess. It was just a really simple match. Not quite a squash match because Penelope at one point did dominate the match, whereas Chris took the early part of the match and the end part. I'm going to give it a 2. 2 out of 5 stars.
2 out of 5. You know what? That sounds good to me. I was going to go maybe a little bit higher, 2 1/4, but an even 2. That sounds like it actually fits pretty well. It's all subjective anyway, so yeah. And I know we don't, mean that to be some sort of commentary on the abilities of these women. It's just, there wasn't a whole lot of time for anything in this. So, next up, we have Dustin Rhodes and Shawn Spears. And if you thought 5 minutes 30 was a fast match, these guys clocked in at a whopping 3:20. 3 minutes 20 seconds.
Yeah,
Wow.
It wasn't really much of a match there.
And Dustin defeated Shawn Spears.
Yeah. Dustin needed a win. He's teetering on, retiring. But every time he tries to retire, somebody or something pulls him back for another match. I guess that's the shtick that they're doing with him right now and why they stuck him in a tag team. So that he can mentor QT Marshall. But I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5 stars. I was gonna give it a 1, but I give it a 2 because of the entertainment factor. Sean Spears did a good job trying to, poke fun. His promo work is really, really good, really funny. And that extra point is just for the fact that when he got stripped down to his underwear, and yes, the camera did get a big bare ass shot of him. A lot of people who was watching illegal streams of this was like, "Oh, what was that? What was that? What was that blurry, peachy colored stuff in front of Sean Spears' underwear?" I was like, "Wait, you guys couldn't tell?" And then I seen people was like, "Oh, I was watching an illegal stream and it was super blocky, so I couldn't tell." So a lot of people thought that his crown jewels was sticking out. I was like, no, it was Tully Blanchard's face where his dick should be. And that made me laugh. Like, I was laughing. And I think JR or Tony laughed too. They try to cover up their laugh too. So it was funny, so that's why I'm giving it an extra 2.5. It's not quite a throwaway, but it made me laugh really hard. So I'm giving it that segment a 2.5.
2.5. Because of the entertainment value.
Yeah.
I know some people that do this thing that we do, except make a lot more money doing it, will definitely not look upon it as favorably because, where's the technicality and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you got to.
This was a comedy match. Yeah.
The entertainment value. Did it do what it was trying to do? I think that's the important part. 2.5 seems fair. What it lacked in just straight wrestling, it made up for in, putting a smile on my face. And I think that is probably, I guess in this instance, it's definitely half the total picture. So in the 7th match, Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida in a no DQ, no count out match for the AEW Women's World Championship that went 16 minutes and 40 seconds. That's right. God. A solidly worked women's title match that got ample time with two women that know exactly what they're doing in the ring. And to cap it all off, if in case you can't hear Ben, he's just like chomping at the bit here. Hashtag and new AEW Women's World Champion Hikaru Shida.
Wow,
Ben, go ahead.
man.
Oh, this match was the greatest women's wrestling match in the history of AEW. Not counting the Fatal 4-Way women's match. They had it all in because they wasn't AEW yet. But the women's division of AEW has sorely needed a match that would finally say, hey, we're turning the tide here. This match was amazing. Now, I picked Nyla to win. I think everybody picked Nyla to win, but in my heart, I wanted Hikaru to win. She's my current favorite women's wrestler. I've been following her for 3 years now, and I was hoping that she would be picked up with NXT, but I was extremely happy.
Years, you'd catch her.
Yeah. And I was really happy when she was announced to AEW last year, and man, I kept telling everybody on social media, watch out for Hikaru Shida. She's the next Asuka. I'm telling you guys right now. And then a lot of people started to buy into her and all that stuff. And would you guys did you? Oh, dude, she definitely can be. Like, she's legit.
It really depends on what month you're looking at Asuka.
I never expected her to pull off a top rope Falcon Arrow and be able to have the strength to do it against Nyla Rose. That spot was a spot of the match for me, and it was amazing. And yeah, like I was kind of hoping that this match would be a 3. No, I'm giving this a 4.25. Like this was what the division sorely needed.
Excuse me.
I'm very happy for Hikaru. Yeah, like I'm loving it, and I hope she holds the title at least until September 5th or past that. Yeah, the women's division has definitely been getting better and better. If you guys watch AEW Dark and the women's matches they had in there, Sheeta wrestled. I don't remember her name, but she was a independent wrestler from Brazil. Don't remember her name, but she performed really good against Hikaru. So wherever they're getting, all these new signees that they're getting the last 3 weeks of AEW Dark, all these new women. Oh my goodness, Josh. Like the crispness of how these women work, it's kind of shocking. And I don't know any of these people. I've never heard of them, of these girls. So the women's division needed a major makeover, and we're starting to see it. And I'm really happy for AEW Women's Wrestling. They needed this sorely. I'm glad.
I don't think I can add on to that. I'll give a solid straight 4 stars across the board. Maybe I'm a little more picky. I don't know, but 4 stars is still a great rating for the match. As is 4.25.
Yeah,
but that
I forgot to mention the creative use of the giant poker chip props. I expected Moxley and Brodie Lee to be the ones that was dominantly using them, but no, it was in this match. That was, those giant poker chip props were prominently used.
Casino ladder match to hold Brian Cage down for quite a number. It took 5 people to lift it and put it on him. So
now, was it really worth all that effort, though, is the question.
Well, apparently not, since he won the match anyway.
All right.
In a match that went 15 and a half minutes for the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley took on Mr. Brodie Lee. And, the outcome of the match, pretty much everybody got. But the means to the outcome, I think, really surprised people. Ben, why don't you take us through the end of the match real quick?
All right, so Jon Moxley and Brodie Lee, they ended up going through the stage area. With the Jon Moxley did his finishing move through the stage area, and it kind of looked like Jon Moxley hit the back of his head on the wood section, but he said he was fine at during the post media scrum. He didn't hit his head, but the way that the camera angle was, it kind of looked like he cracked his head and all that stuff. But anyway, when both men got back into the ring, Brodie Lee was busted open in his forehead. It led to 2 paradigm shifts, DDT, and then Moxley couldn't put him away, so he ended up doing his new submission finisher for I think the 3rd time, which is basically a rear naked choke. And Jon Moxley was able to retain his title that way by basically a technical knockout, because Brodie Lee wasn't able to answer the call. He went limp. He let himself get choked out rather than tap out.
it is the classic scenario where you don't want anybody to look weaker in the outcome of this. Brody Lee, of course, looks strong for not quitting like a little punk. But at the same time, Ambrose looks like a freaking killer.
It was an unfortunate situation where Brody Lee should never have been put into this position here. It was too early. And I guess they forced... This is the only way creatively to keep Brody Lee strong.
Yeah, and with the faction like he has, it's important that he look dominant.
Yeah.
And,
you know
this
what's
was
funny?
a clean way to get around it.
You know what's funny? I don't know about anybody else, but personally, I think Brody Lee, aka the Exalted One, and Lance Archer took a little hit with the hype and the build. They took a little hit with their losses at this pay-per-view event. And quite honestly, this is the biggest detriment to this pay-per-view was Brody Lee, he shouldn't have been in this match. And Lance Archer, in my opinion, should have won. But that's the only problems I had with this pay-per-view. It's just, let's see where they go from here. Because, they're not WWE. They're definitely doing things differently with how they book stuff. So, I want to give it time and see where they go. Yeah. I'm going to give it time and see where they take this.
All right, what is your rating for the match?
I give it a 3.5. This was a slugfest, Josh. This was a brawl, not a wrestling match. It was a brawl. And I loved it. It was hard hitting. It was a very violent match.
I'm going to concur with you on that 3.5 for the very same reasons. It did a great job accentuating the positives for each of the guys, focusing on their strengths and downplaying some of the weaknesses they might have in a technical aspect. But that brings us to the final match of the night, the Stadium Stampede match. Matt Hardy and the Elite versus the Inner Circle in a match that went 34 minutes, pre-taped. Ben?
It seems kind of long for pre-tape.
Oh, they went 10. They shot this over 10 hours.
Oh my god!
They started as soon as sun went down, and they ended right before the sun started to come up.
Wow!
Because they had to pause and they had to move. They had to move the props and do retakes at some of the spots, like the horse spots. Like sometimes the horse would kind of meander off on his own, and they had to reshoot. So yeah.
Just hold on.
Wait. I want to mention this right now. It's Saturday. Chris Jericho just aired his Saturday night special, episode 8. It just ended. Let me refresh YouTube. I'm gonna post the link. So it's an hour and 36 minutes long. I'm gonna post the link in Discord right now. Chris Jericho breaks down the shooting of the entire Stadium Stampede match, and he talks about it on Saturday Night Special podcast that he just finished streaming an hour ago. So I'm going to post that for all of us to watch whenever we get to it.
And that's at the Discord, Yobro MMO?
Yep. And basically, yeah, like, yeah, go ahead, Josh. Finish what you were going to say. I'm going to do that right.
Okay, I just want to take a second to let this sink in. Right. This match needed a horse wrangler. This wrestling match needed a horse wrangler. There was a horse in this wrestling match. There was a horse spot.
Yeah.
What is going on? I mean, don't get me wrong. Absolutely entertaining as hell. But
And a lot of people seem to think that this was Hunter Horse Hemsley, and I'm like, and I keep telling people, no, Hunter Horse Hemsley passed away shortly after he made his debut. This is a different horse, a younger horse.
see, why do horses always die young in wrestling?
Oh,
But you know what? I'm not going to be able to do any of this any kind of justice. So Ben, recap what you want. We are
well, this was definitely my favorite match of the night. It's a 5 out of 5, full entertainment value. I loved every part of it. The high spots, Matt Hardy segment, which basically, I don't know, like a lot of people who overly criticize stuff on pro wrestling, they had an issue with this. This was the only issue of the match. I can understand that, and here's why I want to blow my review on this match to just talk about this match. You know, it all comes down to how you perceive things, right? Everybody's different. Well, a lot of people wanted to draw drama because they brought up the fact that they did a drowning spot, but did we all forget about Shad? And I'm like, I never once thought of Shad Gaspard's tragic drowning death during this whole segment. And a lot of people who covered pro wrestling, whether it's in the media or podcasts, content creators, whatnot, 98% of them did not even think about that. Why? Because we were too busy enjoying the spectacle. And here's my saying this.
Wasn't it done before that happened anyway?
No, they shot it the day before. Shad passed away on that Sunday, and then they shot the match on the Friday night, 5 days after that.
Okay.
But here's why I keep telling people I'm not trying to defend this segment. Geez, what's the name? What was it, Josh? The broken Matt Hardy when he canonized a pull. What do you call it? The pull of revitalization or whatever, or something like that. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
so
now I'm blanking on. Thanks.
Yeah, it's like a pull of
Rejuvenation?
revitalization. Yeah, the rejuvenation pull. So that is a gimmick of the broken Matt Hardy character. And not once did I think like, oh my god, they're spoofing on the death of a pro wrestler who drowned. And it's like, okay, I guess it's everybody's perception. Everybody has a right to their opinion, but let's not pretend that, you know, the rejuvenation pool is not a thing. It is an actual thing. It's a gimmick. It's a part of Broken Matt Hardy's thing. It's a whole spiel. So I personally got upset when people was trying to make drama out of the match. But
And I'm sure they would have discussed it prior to filming it
yeah.
to make sure everyone involved was okay doing that.
Oh, yeah, they definitely did.
Because didn't like Matt Hardy and Jericho and all of them work with Shad Gaspard at some point?
Yeah. I imagine the video I just linked in Discord in the video section. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that somebody's going to bring that part up. And I'd like to hear what Jericho has to say about that. And get his take on it. But I don't think they would have done it. Especially after what happened to Shad. I don't think they would have done that spot if everybody didn't agree to do it.
Yeah,
Because-
no, that's not going to be a, you have to do this. No, that's going to be, everyone has to be okay with it.
Yeah. Like, did you, when you guys saw that spot, if you were able to see it, like, you know, did that, like, oh my god, Shad, no, what are they doing? Like, did you guys feel that? Because I didn't.
Mm-mm.
Josh?
Yeah, no, not even a little bit. Didn't
Yeah.
cross my mind once.
I was too busy being entertained at what I've seen. And I understood the fact that, you know, the pull of rejuvenation is a thing. Every time they try to drown him and dunk him under the water, he pops up as a different Matt Hardy version. It just totally worked. So
So, wouldn't that kind of be like more like the John Cena thing? Different versions? Not Shad Gaspard?
I see what you're saying. That because of the Firefly Funhouse match, they did the thing where, John Cena's iterations all came forth in that match. But this whole Matt Hardy thing with the pool of rejuvenation, or the the Lake of Rejuvenation, way back in Impact or TNA, whatever they were called at the time. When they had, and I'll say it again, the dilapidated boat on shoreside.
The final deletion.
It was, it predates the Firefly Funhouse by a few years. And in that match, it was Matt throwing Jeff in, right?
Yeah.
And we got Will-O-the-Wisp. If I'm recalling correctly, I don't remember exactly. But yeah, and to see it happen to Matt, especially the fact that he's had a number of personas, but always still managed to be Matt in the end. Although my favorite version is still Viawana. I loved version 1. That was great.
Yeah. It was the last...
You see what I'm saying, though? Like, the people that are saying, oh, well, it's about Shad Gaspard. Well, no, that's, in a sense, different Matt Hardy's popping up. It's kind of like,
Yeah, it was it was the last transformation part where Santana Ortiz were holding him down, and then as they walked away for about eight seconds, Matt Hardy was floating on top of the water for about 6, 7, 8 seconds before he popped up as Damascus, his new iteration of the broken character. This is like
Damascus.
Come on, people. Yeah, that's the new broken Matt Hardy persona, Damascus.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A being of over 2,000 years old.
Yep, I'm. That's why I went really.
But you know what I'm saying? I sometimes am, have a tendency to over analyze and over criticize stuff, but come on now. Yes, we're all affected by two wrestlers' deaths this past week, but come on.
Yeah, that's taking it a bit too. That's a bit of a stretch on their part.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and give my rating for the match. It is also a 5-star classic for all of the reasons you said. It was, for what it was trying to be, it was absolutely flawless, in my opinion. So I concur with you. But you know what else, Ben? Do you know what else, Anna?
What?
We're at an hour and 59 minutes into the show. So it's probably about time to say goodnight. So how about we get some last thoughts?
Overall, I give the pay-per-view 8 out of 10. Definitely the best. Oh, there hasn't been many, but this is definitely the best pro wrestling pay-per-view without fans or crowd, a crowdless pay-per-view. And I really hope that things get back to normal, or at least, crowds can begin to go back to, public events, because the crowd is sorely missed in pro wrestling right now. I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. But yeah, 8 out of 10. This was a really, really fun review, and I can't wait for Fyter Fest in a couple of weeks.
I'm going to also run it back to you with an 8 out of 10. It was a solid show from top to bottom. I haven't really put it into the context of where it ranks with the audienceless matches.
I liked it better than Revolution, oddly. Excuse me, no. I liked it better than Full Gear.
Okay, that's fine. Can't really argue anything against that because this was from top to bottom a pretty good show. Even its low points were not really low. And I'd say if I had to compare it to anything, since it's their biggest show, I will compare it to WrestleMania, another show that had no audience. And comparing the two directly, yeah, I'd say Double or Nothing came off better because just at percentage-wise, the number of enjoyable matches was much higher than the two nights of WrestleMania, where, yes, I think we agreed that the Boneyard match was killer, and the Firefly Funhouse match was very creative and very different. This took those things and, like, blew them up and made them really something AEW. And that's what makes this arguably my show of the year so far. So, sorry if I sound a little off because we've been going for a couple of hours now.
Yeah, my mouth is drying, and I usually have a bottle of water right next to me during every podcast.
Yeah, I ran out of my drink a long time ago, and I've just been kind of, taking the melted ice and trying to,
all right,
make things moist. Anyway, with all that being said, I want to say thank you if you took the time to join us live here tonight, and if you're listening at home on another day that is not Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. Hawaiian. You can always rate, review, and subscribe to make sure that the Backstage Slam is directly downloaded to wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And as always, you can join the conversation at YoBro MMO Discord page. I'm Josh. That over there is Ben. And over there's Anna. And for Amber, who had to bounce out a little bit early, I guess the only thing left to say is...
Too sweet.
Too